Hey everybody, Merry Christmas. Hey, we're almost there. It's almost Christmas Eve. It's almost that time when we gather together to celebrate Christmas. But I want to pause for a minute and acknowledge something. It is a nutty time of the year. This entire month, if you think about it, it's totally nuts, right? There are Christmas cards to send out. There are trees to decorate. There are presents to be purchased. There are concerts to go to. There are productions to see. There's holiday tournaments. There's Christmas shopping. There's volunteering. There's planning all the family visits. And on top of all that, over the last month, over the last year, we've had to deal with this pandemic. And so as you've been planning these family gatherings, some of your family members want you to mask, other members want you to have COVID tests before you get togethers, and others just want it all to be over. They are so over it. And then on top of all of that, these days we have divided families. Our politics has us worrying, where's Uncle Larry going to sit in relationship to Aunt Sue at the dinner table come Christmas, because they do not agree on politics at all. And we do not want World War III to break out over the Christmas dinner table. In the midst of all that, we might go, this Christmas, where is God in all the craziness? I've had that question asked me this year more than any other year before. Where is God in the midst of all the craziness? Well, here's what you need to know. On that first Christmas, 2,000 years ago, all the people were asking the same question. Amid the craziness of their life, they were asking, God, where are you? The people of that ancient world where the Christmas story happened, they were ruled by the powers of Rome. Rome ruled with an iron fist. It taxed people in ways that were unheard of. You had to bribe people everywhere you went. The sort of politics of the day make ours look beautiful, wonderful. There were crosses that hung all over the cities of that ancient world. And on those crosses, they hung people who got out of line as a sign to everybody else as to what would happen to them if they challenged the powers of Rome. You see, it was a bloodthirsty, ugly time in history to live. And it was in the midst of all that this young teenage girl, who was scared, I imagine. Her name was Mary, and she was engaged to a guy by the name of Joseph. She heard that she was pregnant, but Joseph wasn't the father. Joseph was ready to sort of dismiss her quietly, but somehow, some way, amid all the humiliation, amid all the glances and the glares as she made it through life those 9 months, somehow, some way, she gave birth to a child in a barn, people. I imagine Mary and Joseph were asking, where in the world is God in the midst of all this craziness? Well, the story of Christmas tells us exactly where God is at in the midst of all of that. The Christmas story from Luke chapter 2 starts like this. In those days. The story starts that way because it's in those days, the days of that ancient world, and let's be honest, the craziness of your life and mine, it's in those days that God promises to show up. In those days, Caesar Augustus issued a decree that a census should be taken of the entire Roman world, and everyone went to their own town to register. It was in those days that God was with Joseph, who also went up from the town of Nazareth to Galilee, to Judea, to Bethlehem, the town of David, because he belonged to the house and the line of David. He went there to register with Mary, who was pledged to be married to him and was expecting a child. It was in those days that God was with them, because while they were there, the time came for the baby to be born, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in cloths and placed him in a manger because there was no room for them in the inn. Friends, this Christmas, we might look around our families, around our dining room table come Christmas. We might turn on the news and look at all that's going on in the world, and seeing all this nuttiness, all this craziness in the world, we might ask, where is God in the midst of all of this? But we can remember from the Christmas story that it was in those days not unlike our days, that God showed up. And it's that same God that promises the same thing to us in our days. And for that, this Christmas, we can give thanks. Folks, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. If you resonated with this message, would you do something for us? Would you share it with a friend? If you're watching on cable access, maybe you'll invite someone else to join you. If you're watching on YouTube, you can always hit that bell so you get notifications on a regular basis. But maybe most of all, we'd love for you to join us celebrating Christmas beginning tomorrow. Thanks so much. Folks, have a very Merry Christmas.